I do want you to know that I am an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. Since I've been 17 years old, I've paid for everything that I've ever had. I started a one-man handyman business in Albuquerque in 1974. And in 1994, I actually had 1,000 employees, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, pipe fitting. Really the American dream come true, and just based on the simplest of notions. Showing up on time, doing what I said I'd do for people, doing a little bit more than what I said I'd do for people. And that was the basis for the business succeeding, and really, like I say, American dream come true. I sold that business in 1999. Nobody lost their job, and they're doing better than ever. And for me, money has always represented freedom. And so to sell that business and have freedom to do what I want to do when I want to do it really has always been a dream of mine. I view my venture into politics in New Mexico as entrepreneurial. I had never been involved in politics before prior to running for governor of New Mexico. I went and I introduced myself to the Republican Party a couple of weeks before I announced, and what they said was, hey, we like you, we like what you've got to say, but you need to know that you will never get elected. That it's not possible to come from completely outside of politics and get elected as governor in a state that was 2-to-1 Democrat. Well, I got elected. And why did that happen? The only thing I can figure out is what it was that I had to say, which was I promised that everything was going to be a cost-benefit analysis, everything. That it was going to be common sense, that it was going to be best product, best service at the lowest price. I got elected, and then I got re-elected. And I would like to think that I got re-elected on the basis of way over-delivering on that first set of promises. I got to tell you, I said no to billions of dollars worth of new spending in New Mexico. I said no to growing government. I said no to all sorts of things, and I would like to think that I brought about a principled discussion on a whole bunch of issues. One of the things that I was known for nationally is I vetoed 750 bills while I was governor of New Mexico. I had thousands of line item vetoes while I was governor of New Mexico. Putting that into perspective, that's probably more than all the other governors in the country combined. That's how many vetoes that was. And what I think is significant is saying no to all that spending, vetoing so many pieces of legislation in a state that was 2-to-1 Democrat. What Democrats saw was good stewardship of tax dollars. That's what everybody saw. And what everybody saw was this notion of government for everybody. You know, not government for a selected few. Individuals, corporations that were well connected politically. I viewed legislation from the standpoint, does this affect everyone equally? And if it did, and if I thought that it was going to benefit everybody, I signed off on it. If it didn't, really, I vetoed it. And you have to know, and of course present company accepted, and I appreciate all those candidates that are here, really. I think it's terrific that you're running, and I would vote for each and every one of you given that opportunity. But legislators will legislate anything and everything in the name of safety. I remember a young guy who hurt his head pole vaulting in northern New Mexico. Well, the next thing you know, I have a piece of legislation on my desk making helmets mandatory for pole vaulters. Well, you know, I pole vaulted in high school, and I just thought that that should be an individual's choice. So I vetoed that bill. I don't know how you all feel about helmets for motorcycle helmet legislation. I gotta tell you, I ride a motorcycle, I wear protective clothing from tip to toe. But if I sign helmet legislation, look, North Carolina has the same issue as New Mexico and all the other 48 states, and that is we have severe organ donor shortages. I sign that legislation, and there isn't quite the supply of organ donors that there might be, all right? One of the favorite This is a Republican bill that passed in New Mexico, which, but for my signature, would have become law in New Mexico, which was the dog and cat exercise bill, that would require pet stores to exercise their dogs and cats 2 hours a day, 3 times a week. Now, I gotta tell you, this is a great idea. This is where I want to buy my dogs and cats, is in a store that says, we exercise our dogs and cats 2 hours a day, 3 times a week. But if I sign that legislation, the next thing, you know, I've got to sign funding for the dog and cat exercise police. I think I had national notoriety when it came to school choice. I was more outspoken on school choice than any of the other governors. I believed that the only way to improve public education was to bring competition to public education. I absolutely believe in the free market. And when it comes to public education, who is to even predict what the free market might bring to education if given that opportunity? I mean, maybe school choice of the future is a video game where kids sit in a chair and to advance it's the most fun place they have. They love being in the chair, which they have to learn languages and mathematics and history to advance in this endless video game that they want. Again, who's to predict? But for 6 straight years, I proposed that every single student in New Mexico get a school voucher, which I thought would have brought about that competition to public education. Now, it didn't go anywhere, but where it did go is when I started this whole debate in New Mexico, and I took on this debate everywhere I went. 65% of New Mexicans opposed school choice, school vouchers, when I started this process. And when I left office, 54% of New Mexicans supported school vouchers, school choice, which I thought was significant.